stare directly into the camera as I say, you are listening to Let's Go, the weekly anime podcast about weekly anime from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Sailor Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. It's Dwayne.
Hello.
It's Niall.
Oh, yeah.
And it's me, Brian. And on this episode, we are covering anime that aired the week of the 17th of August 2020 to the 23rd of August 2020, with a couple of exceptions which we'll get to straight away. And our first exception is, as he scrolls back up the list, because in the commentary this week we've stuck loads of other things not necessarily related to this podcast. Super Shiro episode 45, Popopopo-Popcorn, in which our lads go and look for the Bobo bone at a popcorn factory, but more importantly, the human beatboxer Daiichi provides all the music and sound effects.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
fucking class. Like, as it is, it's just like, yeah, this is a pretty good episode. And actually has like a really good like animated segment in it, but like everything's overshadowed by that fucking wonderful beatboxing soundtrack and sound effects. Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
It's going nuts at it because, of course, you're going to go to a popcorn factory. Just go.
It's good stuff.
It reminded me of when playing like Appare-Ranman, just because there's a lot of that kind of music on it too.
Yeah. Man, freaking more shows should have entire like human beatboxing soundtracks. It's great. Maybe mostly comedy shows, though, to be fair.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the beatboxer on Katamari Damacy.
Yeah, I'd know it to hear it probably, but yeah.
But yeah, it's been good here, and it's oddly emotional for them as well because I think this popcorn is so good. If it tastes so good, it already smells so good, and the bo and it's disguised as a popcorn we're trying to pop here would be even better. And like, if I had it for myself, like, what dream lifestyle would I have? And Deca-Boo is being a president. He's in a car with a hot lady dog cruising along the beach in Los Angeles or something like that. He's like living the life, and then Shiro is thinking, "Oh, if I had the bone, like, no, I'd be have a happy life as well." And I could be running the field with Shin-Chan. I'm going to see his face this time in the fantasy. It's really kind of off-putting, actually.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice contrast. It's like, I'd be such a cool president. It's like, wow, if I didn't have to look for the Boba one, I'd just be a dog. That's great.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, dogs do kind of have it made when you think about it. When you got a nice owner and that kind of thing. Yeah, it was just nice, lazy Sunday mornings were his like great fucking dream. But they get lost in this reverie as they're popping kernels to find out which popcorn is the Boba one. But yeah, it's a really good one, and again, that soundtrack is just fucking amazing. I think, was it you, Brian, who shared the video of the beatboxing bit? It's great.
If you go on Daiichi Beatboxer is his YouTube channel, and he's got a video up there of him doing the theme tune, doing all the parts.
Yeah, it's one of those instances where I'm glad that most of the credits anyway are translated. I was able to look up that dude straight afterwards.
Yeah, that's nice. Nice to get put names to the good fucking show that you're watching.
More of putting names to people in shows later, as we get to another guest star on another show. Then we've got brand new animal BNA episode 8. The mole rat speaks.
Doing some yoga.
So this episode we're gonna get a fucking sweet actiony fight, and also I guess info dump, but like a really coolly fucking visualized info dump.
Yes.
Secret histories, even more potentially X-Men thing, but like slightly crossovers. Yeah. But okay,
stuff you probably had already guessed already.
Yeah. But it's nice to hear like characters voice it without like, here's the info dump. It's like, let me explain this to you, the person who is now in on it.
Yes, we've firmly established that Shiro is Wolverine. Now let us establish that he's also Magneto.
I would have thought your one's kind of Magneto because she was in the internment camp. Yeah,
I guess she is. Yes. Yeah. I was thinking specifically because of recent Magneto stories.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, the movie Magneto. But Yeah, but the first part we get to is they're going to go to... Shiro's asking Michiro if she wants to go and interrogate the Falcon Man they arrested in the previous episode.
Yeah, she was just flying around trying to make contact with her friend. Her friend's still being a dick. But he's like, hey, I guess we're partners now, so you want to come help me solve the crime? And she's like, okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, and the nice bit when she meets her friend is her wanting her to call her by her new name, and she says, it's so hard. What even language is that? It's so hard to say. Which is obviously the play about when she was a human, of her wanting to use her name because it's so easy to say. Even if you say it backwards, it's the same.
Yeah, it's the same syllables.
Yeah.
But,
I like how Michu just like, oh, she can grow wings. That episode, it's just like, oh man, all this like crowds around the church members moved in across the street. I'm really fun, wrecking my buzz and just going to grow wings, just fly around, just cruise around my thoughts for a while.
Yeah, that is kind of funny. It's like giving out to her friend. It's like, hey, why did you guys move in across the street? And she's like, I don't know. They just said that space was free. It's like small town, huh?
Then, before they get there though, somebody else is visiting the police station. It is our friend Boris, isn't his name, from the
Boris.
church?
Yeah, that hat is doing nothing for him. I gotta say.
I keep thinking he's trying to like hide something, but then I forget he's wearing a mask under the hood or under the hat. Is he trying to normalize the weird silver mask thing by wearing a bowler hat?
The wiki explained to me that he's being played by the same guy who played Sex in Gundam Wing.
Okay.
Another silver mask wearer.
Exactly. Well, you kind of take your pick of pretty much any Gundam series, I think. But
You'll find one.
it's the long flowing blonde hair at the back.
It's that coming out of the mask. Sure.
And he wants to speak to the embezzling rhinoceros scientist from the earlier episode, who also apparently that Alan also wants to speak to.
But he has the religious freedoms to visit him as a head member of the church, and then the Rhino guy's like, I'm not very religious, dude. But he seems to know him pretty well. And the Rhino guy's like, wait a minute, who the fuck are you? And that's about as much as he gets out of him in terms of lines, because he doesn't really last long enough to say much else.
Yes, he gets drugged and he turns into a giant rampaging rhinoceros.
So Rhino or Juggernaut or both?
A bit of both.
Yeah. Okay.
But more like Juggernaut-ish.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
This way he's rearming through all the police cars, the guys laying down fire. Like in the SWAT team, like all the guys with the assault rifles and the grenade launchers, and then there was one dude there who was just like, he got two revolvers and two pistols just going pew 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 pew.
Yeah. I spotted that guy as well. It was pretty funny.
And so, Shiro and Michiru have to deal with him. They take him to a more remote location where less people are liable to get hurt in the crossfire.
Yeah, like he tries to counter his punch with a punch, but breaks his entire arm, but it fixes instantly. And she's like, well, if I turn into a bird again, like a really big bird, we can probably fly him out of the city limits. But they just managed to get him as far as the docks, which is pretty good. But they do drop him into a factory, which is less good.
Yes, and then Shiro gets gored, which is even more or less good. And so Michiru tries to help Shiro, as it looks like he needs an ambulance. But she ends up... She does quite well to begin with, but then she ends up about to be crushed to death.
Yeah, she's using the big arms, the stretchy arms. She's using all the tricks she's learned so far, which is a nice kind of reminder. Just like, here's all the things she's done. She's gotten better at them. But this guy's he grows ridiculously big and kind of just smushes her in his hands.
So Shiro has to take the collar off.
Remove the power bracer.
Again, that will also happen in another show down the line this week.
I'm fine with it as a thing. I complain about it often enough as a trope, but it's fine. It's a cool visual. I get it.
And it works well for an animal, particularly.
He's a collared wolf, therefore he's a dog. Yes. Yeah.
He's off the chain.
Yeah, pretty much.
Man.
And he turns into the Silver Wolf and slices up the Rhino using the trigger star, I would guess you call it at this point, the star effect they like to use.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
fair.
I've bet they were watching that first episode of Blood Blockade Battlefront and Beyond, where that's like a monster gets taken out in almost the exact same way. I thought that's a cool effect. We gotta rob that.
Yeah. Because
I'm not going to complain. It's cool as shit. Yeah.
It looks like Shiro is shot him with a beam, and then you realise no, it wasn't a beam. It was Shiro.
Yeah, just like a wheel, and it's like, oh, that was him. Okay, when he's on the opposite fucking side. Yeah, it's really, really cool animation. Would recommend just for that even.
All the fight before it as well, when he's getting bloodied
Oh, of course.
up. I was trying it reminded me of a specific artist, and I watched it too late in the day for me to do any research as to who it reminded me of. But yes, it was a cracking bit of fighting in this episode. And then the mayor shows up, and Shiro's like, she knows. And so then the mayor gets to, as you say, do her info dump as to explain what Shiro is.
So yeah, what was the rough thing? There was an ancient city, kind of like Anima
over
City.
1,000 years ago.
1,000 years old, yeah. So I guess it would be the Byzantine Empire, probably the empire who attacked the.
Yeah,
it's around the same time as the events in Vinland Saga. It would be.
I was going to say, like, the style of it looked very close to the style of pottery type stuff from Kyklos, but
yeah, but that's too. It's too recent for it to be that. So.
Yeah.
It's a Mediterranean or close to the Mediterranean civilization, and around that time would be Byzantium.
But they were getting on well with the humans, and all of a sudden everything changed when the humans attacked. And everyone, including Shiro, was killed. But like he thinks all of their blood pooled together to give him immortality.
Their life or souls all coalesced together and came back.
So he looked for revenge, killed all the army, but couldn't find the leader of the army to get him. And he decided vengeance isn't really the way to go about it. I'm going to go help Beastmen from now on, which is where the legends come from. And he freed the mayor, the current mayor, from World War II internment camp, where Beastmen were being experimented on. They don't say by Nazis, but yeah, I mean, like timeline by Nazis. And after killing after seeing what they did to Beastmen there, he killed everyone in the camp, and he's like, I can't fucking do this anymore. I'm not going to be the Silver Wolf ever again. I will never use my claws. But it's pretty good. And again, the visuals are pretty great. It only becomes like kind of like the current style when it gets to like the mayor's part, where she's talking about less stuff that is in legend and more so stuff that she witnessed herself.
Yeah.
Also, Kuro was in that camp. He's an experimented on crow. Don't worry, he's just a regular crow.
But there's something different about him. He's more, I don't know, cartoony or something like that.
They made him immortal somehow. And yes, made him more like the that bird who sells the chocolates.
Oh, Orla. No, wait, no, I'm thinking of Shiro.
No,
yeah. Sorry,
the guy's he's had his own anime one or two times. So has a similar sort of beak and eye movement to this crow, but So that's all that. Was there a cliffhanger in this one?
There kind of was. It was the it's like, hey, the mayor's on our side. We're cool. You're my partner.
Look at the DNA,
and it looks like it's like,
is
the mayor in on it with this piece of shit? And it's more so she's like, I absolutely trust you implicitly, and he's like, yes, you certainly do, mayor. And it's like, fucking come on, this guy's up to shit. He's up to shit, shady shit.
Yes.
Dear.
But as I said last week, I like the fact you've got two different sets of people up to shady shit who who, judging by this week, are somehow connected.
They're definitely connected, and I'm glad like the mayor is involved, but not involved in it like she's secretly evil, that kind of thing. It seems more like she thinks these people are on the level. But yeah, there's a lot of differing, but sometimes in the same way, opposing wheels kind of spinning, and it's nice to see kind of going on. And as info dumps go, I thought this was handled very well.
Yeah, well, there's a little bit of me to kind of understand Shiro a little bit better.
Yeah, that's nice.
Because I was saying she always felt like tense around him just by default because he's stated quite clearly that he just likes humans. But then she's coming like, well, I'm trying to, find a way to stop being a beast man, but like I'm coming at it like it's something wrong to be. So in a way, I'm like, am I saying I hate him as well?
Yeah, you're kind of doubling down on his prejudices. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's already been through enough shit trying to redress the imbalance here, so I shouldn't be piling any more on top of him either.
Mm.
Oh, we appear to have lost Dwayne's video. Let me see if I can get that back. Carry on talking.
Ooh, too hot for TV. Just it was, as I say, it kind of looked pretty cool as well. And even when like there's like sprays of blood happening there, I was like saying to kind of keep to the artistic scheme, and there was a sort of like a magenta-ish a hue to it, as it's erupting out of Shiro's chest.
They're again doing that contrast between the blue and the pink, which is really nice because obviously they're in the warehouse, not a factory. Sorry, I'm guessing like the excuse is like, oh, there'd be like some kind of a whatever little lighting is in the closed place is like neon fucking lights or something like that. That's really bringing out the pinkish of the red, and it's just like you don't need to explain it, but like in scene it doesn't seem weird. It's like, why all these guys have pink blood? It's like no, it works. They make that visual work very well for them in context. It's very nice. It's you could go on and on about how well together the show is put together visually.
Yeah.
Must be your end, Dwayne, because I'm not seeing you in Skype.
I'm going to on and off again, maybe.
Next up, we've got extra Olympia Kyklos, which I assume is just going on forever at this point.
Yay!
Be nice.
Episode 13, Lady Discrimination, in which our hero's beloved says, how about inventing some sports for women to do, Demetrius? After he can't find himself enjoying the party that's going on,
and the very weirdly specific party game, but that they've said all the bits that are historically inaccurate about how they're doing it.
It's like throwing liquids into.
You got to throw the arse of your drink into like a balance cup and saucer type situation,
and
shouting the name of your beloved. And I assume if you get it in, then you get to get with them or something. It's not. Yes, also, it's not clear. It's a drunk game.
It's supposed to be a young boy you're in love with.
Yeah, your man's giving out to him. Was like, why are you saying a lady's name? What the fuck, dude? That's weird.
What is that? Come on.
And then Demetrius is like, sports for women. Don't be ridiculous.
Because it's like bad move, he says something like, "It's like, hey, the Spartans have sports for women," and she's like, "Oh, we should get sports for women." It's like, we're not barbarians like the Spartans. Come on. It's like, you had it in there, bro. You had it.
Stop digging. Oh.
Yeah, pretty much.
Realizes his mistakes, climbs into a pot, and prays to the gods to save him.
They're responsive for once, which was surprising.
Yeah, they send him into the future where he gets hit immediately in the face with a volleyball and as appears to have landed in the plot of Attack Number 1.
I like the way he's like, a nice soft sport for women. That makes sense. And then the fucking coach shows up. It's like, whoa, okay.
Come on, you worms. Cop to it. I want to see someone from offense on this side. You're nothing.
Dear.
And I do like how the granddaughter said, well, the coach said if we weren't committed, we should leave, so I left.
Sensible. Very fucking sensible.
Wait a minute, what are they doing? They're twirling hoops around their waists. That's something that women could do back in our ancient games.
Yeah,
because we have hoops.
We've got hoops. And who is it? Who said? Is it Hippocrates?
Hippocrates said it's good for the vigors. Or something to that effect, anyway.
So yes, he brings them back, and he goes back and brings back the sport of hula hooping. But then they ask how do you determine a winner?
Because it has to be. I think it can't be a fun thing. It must be.
The Greeks do sports to win. So they're just there hula hooping. It's like, how do we decide who wins?
I don't know if the first one to stop hula hooping gets her hair cut out. So I'm just like, oh Jesus, and they just stay there.
we're locked in now. We gotta do this.
And then Zeus calls them idiots for doing it.
We're just
And
hula
then
hooping
we
on a
go
cliff well into the night, like.
into the amazing punchline of the song "Lady Discrimination."
Again, fucking like the episodes are good, the jokes are great, the songs are just so
And the
good.
punchline to this song, or rather the video to the song.
The videos are fucking amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Great travel advice there.
Where is yes, the gist of the joke is it's a song explaining all the things that ladies can't do in ancient Greece, but then at the end it basically says except in Sparta, and then it reveals itself as an advertisement for the Spartan tourist convention or whatever it says.
Yeah. It's suddenly like flipped. It's like, hey, we're getting a lot of bad press from this fucking bard. We gotta pay him to sing a song about how cool Sparta is.
Paid for by discoversparta.com.
Shit. Good stuff.
Yeah, but it also worked.
I hope it continues indefinitely, although I
Yes.
know that's impossible.
There's
Like
so
most
much Greek
things.
history we can go back
Exactly, but it
That's
works as a
true.
joke, but it also teaches you something because it's like, oh,
Yeah.
Sparta gets all this bad press, and we've gone into the previous episodes of all the bad things about Sparta, and like this one at the end, you got this thing about, but they weren't as discriminatory as the rest of the Greek.
They fucked people up,
city-states.
but they were equal opportunity people
Yes.
fucker uppers.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing.
History's a weird fucking place. Yeah.
It is. Next up, talking of weird places, God of High School 7, anima / force.
What's so weird about Korea? Is it all the superpowers? It's all the superpowers, isn't it?
I was more specifically this tournament, I think was what I was referring to as being weird.
My problem with the tournament is you can't show me the backgrounds of the other teams and then make me root for them against our
Yes, you
heroes.
can.
Come
And
on.
that's a great
That's
thing
a
to do.
cheap trick. That's a cheap trick. I don't like it.
I suspect it's the only time they're going to do that because essentially these were
The rest of them seem like bastards. Yeah.
them fighting themselves.
Yeah.
It's your working class heroes. They came up from nothing. They just had a different harbor. I mean, like one of them is a 38-year-old because he's just a builder who dropped out when he was a teenager. Now he's just like working at it to get his high school diploma. It's just, that's good on that. We should always be learning, but it also means. Also means you could put so many ringers in here. We have
They had an American wrestler in there, so yeah, you can put in whatever the fuck you want as long as you're going to high school, which is a ill-defined definition, I guess.
Yeah, we have this fella here. Like, it's a very, very quiet boy. His name is Duke Togo. He's been taking a night school on algebra. I think he's got a good shot and make a name for himself in this tournament.
I mean, like he brought a gun. It's not against the rules.
It's a wooden gun. It's allowed.
They're also worried about Nox because, as we learn later in the episode, Q and his wife and his baby child were all assassinated. Also, apparently, Jin's grandfather has had an arm removed and been kidnapped.
It's like we think they left his arm behind as a warning and took him somewhere. It's like, are you sure they didn't just fucking murder the rest of his body?
No, your man's too tough for that.
I did like that you could tell that your man was killed in the opening credits of the episode because they've taken out the prior referee and put in the new referee and including all the guys in the next part of the tournament. I was like, oh, so he gone. Okay. just to make sure.
No, I think his wife.
He's been edited out of the intro.
His family line is extinguished. It's done.
I thought he'd just been Trotsky or something, you know? It's just like, no, never in the photo.
I like that. I like how they get out of having all the fights go down to the line by Jin removing himself from the fight in the first round because he's
gotta Luffy this guy. Gotta take him out.
Yeah, I was kind of good with that. It was like, let me just show you my new power. Oh, I fucked it up, and then the guy just is there kicking him while he's down. I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm rooting for this team. That they had me there, but then they had me more later.
The double bit is the guy from the 6 going as he's doing his pressure point moves to unleash his full power. He's going, I taught him this. Now he's no longer going to rely on his grandfather's taekwondo. An immediate failure.
It's like, I guess I should have stuck with Taekwondo.
Also, when did you teach him that? Because if it wasn't that long between episodes, it seems, then he probably needs like maybe a little longer than the 5-minute talk you gave him.
Yeah, he's like, here. Okay, you got it. Good. I got to bounce.
Was it literally when he just stuck him in the ankle as he was crossing the street? Is that your training? Because I'm not sure why I'm paying $5,000 for this.
Yeah, you got to have a whole montage, dude. Come on, put it together.
So then we get Han versus the 38-year-old fella, and you versus the other swordswoman.
There can only be one red-headed glasses-wearing successor to their swordsmanship school.
I did like the way they were contrasted with her. Like, I am the sole successor to my sword style, whereas the other one is just like, I'm not even the best in my class at swords. But I'm trying, damn it.
I met somebody that made me believe that, if he can do it, maybe I could do this by the time I'm 38.
I did like the audience going like, he seems a bit old to be in high school. And he just keeps saying positive, affirmative things to us, the audience, like, you're never too old to learn and all this kind of shit.
Hey, he's like, oh man,
this guy's all right.
Dude.
And he can summon Thor's hammer.
Yeah, that's pretty cool too. I mean, that's another thing to make me root for you, summoning a giant hammer. Are they all like legendary? And I assume there's a constituent of these guys who have legendary weapons. Because your man had what was it, Daedalus, Charlemagne's sword?
Yeah,
or something?
I think there's a bunch of people who have. I think some of these actually are weapons which do exist.
Yeah.
We'll find out more down the line. I think by the end of this first season. But meanwhile, while this is happening, an even more exciting fight is happening across town
simultaneously.
And just shit keeps happening, and it's more weirdos keep turning up with powers. It just keeps escalating. But yes, the other judge, what letter is he?
I'm just going to look him up. I should figure out these.
He's Q or U.
You saw him get tagged.
Green guy.
Oh, this guy's Q. Yes.
Oh, okay.
I forgot. I can't remember.
I think they mentioned you at some point, and that's why I have it in my head. Yeah.
You can't get stuck. He's like pinned to the wall. He's impaled. He must be dead. Well, the fella from Nox is just like laughing and mocking at him. But no, he's not. He's still alive. And
he's still alive, and he's chopped off one of the guy's arms before he even fucking takes a drag of his cigarette. And he cuts off his own power level scouter band kind of thing, and he's just like, right, let's fucking do this then. And before he's done kicking that guy's ass, the two guys who hired him appear, or two of the people who hired him anyway. A guy with wings and a magic sword, and a woman with a giant crucifix filled with teddy bears filled with guns.
It's like a very cute version of the cross punisher that Wolfman uses in Trigun. Also, the other dude with the wings and the sword has got a 100-foot tall dragon curled around the outside of the building.
No, that's
who is that? That's Jojo's.
Yeah, that's just the other dude. Yeah.
Because doesn't she has like fire powers, and it's like, oh, she's actually just borrowing the dragon's teeth to make fire, which is a cool fucking look. But yeah, it's a very weird, crazy superpower fight.
This bananas. I mean, like Q isn't just letting this weird, creepy Joker stand just go around top of him. He's pulled down the scythe himself, and he's wailing on that. It's just going. It makes like this other fight, which is filled with more like emotion and tries to it's like a really touching backstory to this, and then it's just going crazy across town as this building is just got dragons and missiles and laser beams. It's fucking nuts. Like I watched it like a week ago, and it's just like almost like a blur to me.
Yeah, no, easy enough, because it keeps cutting back and forth between those the tournament fight, which has personal stakes, and this just crazy murder fight. I like your man, the guy who impaled him, but that didn't seem to do anything. He does explode by the end of it. I'm not sure if that was on purpose by him or someone else's plan, but I did like your one saying, it's like, hey, when if you take off your band so you can fight on your own, you get docked 3 months pay, so that's like half a year you're not going to get paid now. And your man's like, oh, what? Because he's such I'm a cool smoking badass, and I fucking don't give a shit. But then he's like, wait a minute, I need to pay rent and utilities and shit. And he keeps getting punished for being a badass.
Do
Good.
you know what cigarettes cost these days? Man.
Ah, dear.
Yeah, Judge T is the one who was attacked by and killed by Drake MacDonald, who's this fella who, yeah, these all appear to be Westerners as well, the Nox folks that we've met so far.
Okay.
Because the other two who show up, he refers to them as being priests, and in the eye catch, one's a priest, one's a nun, though they don't wear those outfits when they're fighting. Yeah, so yeah, Q's power is Joker, and Judge O's power is Dragon Slayer.
So he can summon sides from playing cards, or a giant side monster. And her power is just like, I have a dragon and anything a dragon can do, or something. It's
something like
the
that.
The powers
yes.
are very vague right now, and I'm fine with that for the time being.
Yes. Yeah, because Q can like take the scythe that his Joker summon has and use it himself, can't he? As well as do all those weird things with cards. But yeah, I wasn't really thinking about necessarily the logistics of it all, rather than going, "Oh, this is very pretty."
Yeah. That's pretty much what it's going for, and it succeeds at that for sure.
Yeah. Next on the list is Fruits Basket, episode 20. Are you okay?
Grand.
Middling.
Yeah, we kind of stop at before the stopping. We start at the stopping point of before the stopping point of the last episode, where it's more so.
It's all about Yuki.
Yeah, it's Yuki's reaction to the character from the last time. Seeing
Rin.
is like, yeah, I have this. Yeah, Rin. That he has this kind of similar kind of thing, this trauma that he's trying to get away from. But it's also about the student council, and the more so, it's like it's a different fucking show a little. And I don't mean that as a bad thing, because it's still a fun show.
Well, it's how he's internalized that connection that they made last time, and the similarity he's seeing, and similarity is seeing that like I want someone like that who will like just care for me in that way, like in that manner. So I want her to be my mammy. I want her to take care of me, or I want her to be nice to me. And I think he's realized that's kind of what I'm actually looking for here, or at least that's what he kind of feels like to me. Because this is kind of all about him now, internalizing that, and then he's talking with the rest of the student council members and relationships with their families. In particular, it's about Kakeru and Machi and what they are to each other. Because Machi is pitched on her face, which is trashed the council room, and she's obviously done this before, and
she apologizes, says she won't do it again, but they're trying to figure out, is like, well, we want to know why you did it, so you can definitively say why you won't do it again, kind of thing.
Yeah, like
they want to help, but she's not opening up to them.
Yeah, like Kakeru has to take care of it. If just leave it someone for a little bit, so then we'll do it. Let's say Yuki's just, it's grand. We'll go on to the other meeting in the other room. It's like, and then little short dude's like, hey, what's going on? Praise the trash room. Aren't you going to say nothing about it? No, let's leave it alone. Come on, man. You're just going to walk it over you like that? I said, leave it alone. He says, oh, Jesus.
Yeah, he kind of gets when sometimes you need to leave space, and your man seemed to know what he was doing. He seemed confident and been able to talk her out of talk her out of whatever was going on with her. Yeah.
Yeah, so he gets back to Kakeru later and is having to tidy up the room, which hasn't done a great job of whatever about that, and gets to Skinny and watch they are to each other. And Machi is his half sister. Because they're the same father, but she's the daughter of his wife, and he is the son of the mistress.
But he's older and a boy, and there was a whole like battle over who should inherit the blah blah blah, and they got dragged into it. But at one point, he just kind of went like, fuck it, this is bullshit. And his mom kind of went, you know what, fuck it, it's not really worth the hassle. So they both kind of dropped it. So I'm guessing that's where he is. But he's thinking that she's still stuck in this
Yeah.
in this thing of being the rightful heir kind of bullshit.
Yeah, so it's still kind of tense around him.
Yeah.
Isn't really not sure how to act about it. So when she apologizes then the following day about it, and it's just like, oh, sorry, I won't do it again. It's just like, you don't, no, man, look, it's like, are you all right? Do you want to talk about it? Just tries to like, get her to come out about it. I think wherever's bugging her or whatever's at her, it's better to try and maybe share the burden a little bit. What's it there now? They're also in the background just trying to sort out the roles because they decide for the school festival they're going to do this Cinderella play. And like, oh, go Cinderella! It's like that's so lovely. So it's literally a fairy tale.
I did like the way Uo was like, I wanted to do historical drama and I wanted to get this cool scene. And I was just like, yeah, they're gonna do some silly fairy tale stuff. But Toru has been voted as one of the evil stepsisters, and she's just like, I'll totally play the villain to the best of my ability. And everyone's like, fuck, that's gonna go terrible. But I did like the Yuki fan club going like, yes, we've arranged this. And then one of them was voted as the evil stepmother. And she's like, shit, we didn't rig that part.
Damn it. Hanajima is going to be Cinderella. And Yuki, who was abstained, but would any other year have gotten to play the part of the prince, but he's not going to be in it. Instead, we're going to go for the next hottest lad in the class, Kyo. He's like, what? I'm not an actor. It
kind of seems like a bunch of his mates like voted him in because they're all just laughing. It's like, hey, Prince Kyo. They're like to take the piss out of him. It's like all of them go like, oh, let's vote for Kyo. It'd be really fucking funny. We'll make that his new nickname.
Yeah, I'm like misremembering this. Maybe it's just like the idealized version of it for me, but just the way that Uo-chan is just like really, I couldn't give a shit about this. I think by some kind of like happenstance or some kind of like circumstance it was like later on when actually putting it on, I think Kyo can't do it for whatever reason, and then Uo-chan has to step into the role of the prince, and she kicks ass at it because she's just
God, like, if that doesn't happen, that sounds like it should happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I never imagine that, but okay. Well, it'll keep me like on.
If it doesn't happen, it's a nice dream.
It'll be a nice surprise. What's now then? While they're again having back in the student council room, there's like he has to go. Yuki has to go get some forms out the back. It's like, oh, we forgot to tell you that door it locks and we can't open it when you shut up like that. Also,
yeah, she tells him while the door is swinging closed, which is a bit fucking late.
Also, there's no light bulb in there. So he's like, all right, okay, well, I can get out of this. It's fine. I'll just get by my time. Oh, I've knocked over the paint. It's splashed over the wall. Why was that left open? And then kind of
fumes are getting to him, and then he's kind of like getting to being locked in a dark place is a thing that reminds him of a bad time in his life.
Yes. And the person who does that, and just recently thinking back to when Akido was ruining their beach trip, and he was saying, oh, you're fucking trying to live so positively, Yuki. It's pathetic. You know what's going to happen.
I know what you want out of Toru, and it's this, whispers in his ear kind of thing. So he's kind of freaking out over that. And then the door gets busted in by the person who's been best at busting up stuff this episode.
Yay.
And as she says, and you can see that kind of moment where he was trying to make the connection with her, but she makes the connection with him by breaking shit, which is the thing that she's been doing. Where she's like, I didn't want you to get panicked, like locked in there on your own kind of thing. So she's obviously kind of getting a read on him as well, in the same way that he's getting. They kind of recognize trauma in each other, I guess.
Yeah. So we're just kind of getting fresh air outside. We just kind of talk about Gakuru about it afterwards, and it's just it's going about the kind of get. It's in a vulnerable moment, I suppose. He's going to kind of maybe admit. He said it's something kind of pathetic, and I've never told anybody else. But he's going to decide to say, "Oh, out of Toru, I actually want it to be this kind of way with her," but it just cuts it off right there for the credits.
Leaving it a little bit open, but you can probably fill in the blanks yourself. But not a good episode. Again, feels like a different show, but it's still a good, fun student council time, I guess.
Yeah, it just feels very long. I sometimes to me.
Yeah, I get what you mean though.
Gets brought down to him. Like he's an important character, I guess, but it feels like he's sort of kind of on the periphery, like and you want to see more what's going on with sort of, say, the kind of the main storyline was what Toru is doing, what's breaking the curse, and also I was happening between her and Kyo and how that's developing. But
Yeah,
I
I'm
guess,
guessing like you were saying, you were surprised this was continuing on for as long as it is, and I'm guessing one of the things they're doing is they're going to lengthen those other what were side stories in order to make the full length episodes essentially.
well, I feel like more events are kind of actually like collapsing maybe. Because I'm not sure that the student
Yeah.
council vignettes happened necessarily in this order, but they're maybe kind of putting them together. And I think maybe sometimes I feel like they're better when they're spaced out a bit more. I don't know. I'm just maybe not as endeared towards these other characters.
You're not as invested in this plot line as well. I get it. Yeah.
But we're going to go back to the other dudes. But good to see you can stand up for himself. It is definitely about mammy issues to a great extent.
Yeah. One of the quotas of it is like his friend's like, dude, you need to get a phone. And he's like, our telephone's useful. And him getting permission from his mom to get a mobile phone to sign off with the company or whatever. And she kind of gives him some mom advice. It was like, don't be staying on the phone too much. And he's just kind of laughing. It's like, that's the first time she's ever said anything like a parent to me.
Yeah.
bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
definitely
kind
does.
of from this like kind of an attitude at Kakura, which is pretty good. It's like way what our family is. It's like wearing a shirt that's buttoned up wrong. It's buttoned up wrong and it looks fucking stupid. And you know it's like not. This isn't the way it's meant to be, but you can't help but see to stick with it. So he's kind of saying like your parents are your parents. You can't really pick them.
It's not a thing of like I feel like the message wasn't you have to accept the family that you're given. It's more so it's like you're kind of stuck with them, but you learn to live with it. Basically, it's just figuring out how to either rebutton your shirt or live with a badly buttoned shirt, as your man demonstrates. It's just like look, I can just wear my shirt like an idiot. It's great.
Yeah. You look stupid. I know, right? So don't take it too seriously or too personally.
Yeah.
Then we've got Wacky TV Nanana, Season 3, Episode 19, Direct Hit, The Octopus Hunter, in which they are tipped off by the restaurant to go to this location where there are many octopus hunters training. And we meet the guy training them, Takahashi. Who's being played by Toshiyuki Takahashi, also known as Takahashi Meijin, the guy famous for his 16 shot per second trigger finger speed in the 80s. And I was like, I guess maybe Tatsumi Fujinami didn't appear in this series, but they found another of their heroes from the 80s to hang out with and put in their show.
Well, they're on an adventure island, so you got to get Master Higgins.
This was one of the episodes this week that did make me laugh out loud, and you don't know exactly fucking what bit made me laugh.
Oh yeah, never done this kind of thing before, or hasn't done it the same as this. So he just delivers a line, but then cracks it up at Libby. Can we do that one again? I want to do that one again.
Like no, it's good. It's good. It's so fucking like I love the kind of like just that they're cracking each other up in the booth. It's really great.
Yeah, I get the feeling they like acting with people who they're fans of, but also aren't necessarily professional actors, and they just want them to have the same amount of fun they're having. Yeah,
it definitely seems like that, and it's coming across in it, and it's really good for that. But I mean, like other than that, it's still a really fun thing around that one. It's not even a joke; it's just a fucking flub, but a really good flub.
Yes. But yeah, this Takahashi, he finds octopuses by tapping 16 times per second. But then he also tells you should only hunt octopuses 1 hour a day. Because that's his other thing he's famous for, is telling you should only play video games for 1 hour a day. But he also believes the flip side of that is that you should play video games 1 hour a day.
Sound advice.
That's I think he's like his thing is like humans need like that amount of play in their life each day.
I can't see tapping a pot like 16 times that much fun, but I mean, like whatever floats your boat, you know.
Yeah.
Well, that's basically what you're doing to the joypad when you're playing the game, Dwayne. So.
I'm using my thumbs. What are you talking about?
Why if you're playing Metal Gear Solid in the torture scene, you're using your thumb then?
Oh no, I'm using my finger then.
Cramp
Yeah,
it up.
No,
Yeah, exactly.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, and by all accounts of what it looks like. I assume he's going to be in it for the rest of the series at this point, based on
Well,
where the story's going.
Good stuff, because
Well-
he was great in this.
He goes full video game mode next week, so he's got to stick around for that at least.
Yeah. Then we've got Deca-Dence, episode 7, Driveshaft. We do open with him creating his new avatar.
Wasn't as many slides. He just
Yeah, he just gets through the menus really quickly. I mean, like, he was being more sensible than we give him credit for. Yeah. Just give me a cool scraggly beard. That's I gotta have that. That's my
like
look.
cycle through the random defaults of one saying, no, that was pretty close to go with that.
It's the Dark Souls random face a couple of times. Like, yeah, it's good.
And it's a good job it didn't take too long, because when he gets there, the tankers are under attack.
And he's like, wait, I thought it was going to be fucking no attacks for a while. And it's like, yeah, we can't leave it in development for that fucking long. We got to have a new event. The new event is invasion in the tanker place. Yeah, it's really fun because humans die.
And also, we learn later is that they decided there's too many humans, and then the population needs to be controlled, as well as this being an event.
Yeah, the coldness to which they're talking about that, because he's like, well, I mean, like, we can only fit so many inside the tank. Look at them. There's loads of them in there. We get rid of a few. It'd be grand.
It's also like put in terms of we're kind of trying to phase out the whole kind of going safari to see an endangered species aspect of it. People aren't really coming back to the game for that anymore. So if we could probably just do it a few more less of it. It's just like you're just a feature in this fucking this video game.
Because as he's loading in, it goes like hang out with some an endangered species as one of the features. But it's clearly like everyone likes the flying around fighting monster battles rather than hanging out with humans battles.
Yeah, but also because the endangered species isn't endangered enough. So,
so if there's a little less of them, they'll really want to hang out with them.
Yes, I think that's the other thing.
Mm.
But this is all revealed in the conversation he has with the Deca-Dence's captain.
But you can't get on the phone, so he has to go meet him in person.
Yes.
Both of them are in persons, but yeah.
And I do like that the sense that there's some friction, but after Kabaragi's left, the captain's like, I want to do something to help you, to himself.
Yeah, they're definitely friends, even though he's very cold about it. It's like, we need to cull the human population, but he still likes Kabaragi because it's like, well, he's not a human, so I can like him. He's not a shit to other robot people.
But you get the feeling that like Kabaragi could like eventually bring him over to his side, and
yeah.
And he's the reason Kabaragi is alive as well. Is that he was.
I was half expecting in that opening video game thing of him turning around. It's like, we want you, soldier, to join our fight. I was actually meant to go to Kabaragi. Oh shit! Continue the video, But obviously he took a different face, and I assume it's a pre-recorded thing. Imagine if you had to do that for everyone who fucking logged in. Jesus, it's a tough job.
The other thing was in the first half is when they're under attack. Is he rushes in to help, but his help isn't particularly needed because Natsumi is now super good. I mean, this is also where we get reintroduced to all the other tanker characters.
And either Mindy, Mandy, or Mundy survived. Hooray!
Yes.
Yeah, good.
Wait, no. Mendy is the small one.
Yeah,
They're all alive.
Which are the other two? They're all okay, which I was glad for. I was like, oh, and they're friends, and it's like, oh, that's nice. Phew.
Which makes it even more tragic when they do die.
No, they won't die. I can't believe they'll die anymore.
Well, not if the plan that Kabaragi has at the end of the episode is pulled off. But yeah, the second half involves the tankers trying to figure out what to do with this giant circular hole which has appeared in the side of Deca-Dence, and they're going to try and use Natsumi comes up with the idea of using the home repair kits that they have for repairing the homes in the tanker area.
It appears to be just like collapsible flat pieces of metal for putting up against a hole in your wall, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it feels very video gamey. It's like you're
gotta gather all the
that,
resources so you can develop.
But they're going to use it for a purpose it wasn't intended to. So she tries to go around and encourage people to donate their kits, and she thinks it hasn't gone as well as she thought it had gone, but it turns
Yeah,
out.
because she's going around talking to people, and they're all like, "Things are the way they are, and that's just the way it's got to be." They're all stuck in the ways, but it's like, no, she's won them over, or over enough that they can get some work done.
Yeah, well, they do seem like a pretty absorbing their own things because while it was a video gamey event for everybody else, I think it's also Kaburagi is maybe very much more so shaken a bit by the from the toll it takes on the humans who actually had to live here. This like it seems a lot more powering, a lot more like this is from
Yeah,
brutal,
him walking
brutal
through
than
the
the last time. Yeah.
him walking through the streets where they just have like triage happening. He's just like, fucking hell, like this is a horrible thing to inflict on them for a video game event. Yeah.
And then when he speaks to Natsumi later, he's like being impressed that she's strong, but she's explaining, if I've got to be strong, because if I stop and stumble, I don't know what's going to happen. And then she's like still wondering, like, is it even worth it? And he's like, this drives him into so much anger. His art style entirely changes.
Yeah.
And he raises his fists, and he decides that he's got to do something completely different to whatever he was trying to do before. Because before it was like helping her maintain and just survive in the world, whereas now he's kind of realised that it's the world itself has got to come tumbling down.
When he introduces himself in the new avatar to her, like he initially is like, I know, do you know Kaburagi? And he's like, technically, yes, I do. That kind of thing. But does she figure it out from Pipe jumping on his face?
Yes, I think she's.
It's like, okay, there's something more to it than this, because that's exactly the way he jumped on Kaburagi's face, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but it would be hard to
to go like, oh, you're Kaburagi in a new body, obviously. Is it? Because how the fuck would you know that? Yeah.
How would you know? But combined with what he said to her before, that would probably also make her waver a bit more in like thinking about keeping strong through it all. Because it's like, if Kaburagi says the war will never end, that's why you shouldn't get involved, and now Kaburagi, who she thinks has I'm sure she thinks has died, but is convinced herself that has gone off, has somehow come back in an entirely different body, would suggest that what you were saying about it, along with the
things
fact
like
that
when she
killed the Gadolls and they just reappeared immediately. Yes, it would be a massive crisis of faith in what you're doing. Yeah,
but it was also the thing of like her seeming to be testing him with. It's like, hey, you want to drink this milk? And he's like, no, I don't. Yeah, fuck it, I'll give it a shot. That's pretty nice actually. And it's like Kaburagi never had milk either, kind of thing. It's just like, was that a fucking test? Like at the end of fucking, you know what I mean? It's just like, let me just see, because if you're Kaburagi, that kind of thing. I don't know if she's pushing it or seeing how he's similar rather than seeing if he is exactly the same guy.
Yeah, and all through this episode, Kaburagi's been nagged by Jill to not spend too long.
Don't spend more than an hour.
Don't draw video game to yourself.
Yeah, don't walk up to the commander like you know him as NPC level fucking 1. Or PC level 1. And he logs out, and then when he meets up with his guys later, he's like, hey, why'd you log out so quick? You could have fucking stayed in longer, dude. And she's like, shut up. No, he couldn't. It's drawing too much attention. And Kaburagi's like, you like parties? I got a cool party for you. We're gonna kill all Gadol.
We're gonna bring this whole system down, man.
And it's like, how are you gonna go do that? And it's like, they're right above us. Let's go get them.
Destroy the factory so they can't make any more.
Yeah, which is a bold plan.
It is. And how do they do it? Do they do it in their avatar form, or do they do it in their tiny little robot form?
I just want to see the robots interact with the humans, because like I feel like they're really short in comparison. I feel like even the big purple guy is probably maybe human sized.
Maybe, yeah, because we've seen like one in the hands of Natsumi's dad at the start,
and it's large toy.
He's Haybot sized.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit of both. You can get it from both ends. Wow.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking.
Well, your man, like Kaburagi, has a jetpack, and your man has a gun arm, and I'm just like, that's perfect. That's like for fighting in 0G. It's like, yeah, guns and jetpacks, perfect. That's exactly what we need.
There's a really cool bit of animation of him fighting in their robot forms in the opening as well.
You've seen him like fighting cool
That's
this
true, yes.
the previous week.
That's
The big
true. Yeah. It's to show that they
struggle
can
fighter.
fight in the robot form.
Yeah. There we go. I was just like, when he's just in. That's it. I'm fucking done. I'm not wrong. It's the system that's wrong, man. We gotta tear the whole thing down. Like even then, there's like seeing like what they did, because they weren't meant to fix the whole that early. It wasn't scheduled for the event to end that soon. But this bug in the system, they weren't meant to like pool their resources and labor together and accomplish something as a unit, as a team. So it's like, you may not like, and to them, that's kind of really unusual and kind of unnerving. And just from Natsume's point of view, it might seem like this is this kind of never-ending uphill struggle, but you might be able to see the change from where you're standing. But it depends on your perspective, and like little by little, like while a system or something like that can seem like it's impossible to change or remove or replace, it can be done. But this gradually needs to happen.
Yeah. I assume the final boss battle is with that malevolent Boppet. I assume that is the fight. That's the representation of whatever is in control of the system.
Yeah, that thing seems like it's the thing in charge somehow.
Yes.
I did like the way Natsume is like you said, now the bug in the system, but like she's not only changing the individual humans around her, but she's also changed Kaburagi. Like she's completely like shifted his goals from just fucking keeping on, and okay, let me try and help you keep on keeping on, help you survive. And it's like, nah, fuck this. This is bullshit. Throw the whole thing out. Yeah. It's nice to see like that this bug infecting everything in positivity, I suppose.
Then we've got Great Pretender. Episode 1. Just realised something was on that it shouldn't have been on. Case 1-1, Los Angeles Connection. Yeah, so this is fresh off Netflix, in English at least. And what were these guys' characters' names? I should have written them down.
There's Makoto Okamura. Well, Edamura, because the other dude is like Edamame. No, Edamura. Not.
Yeah, that's it.
And the other dude is Laurentieri. He's the French gentleman, I presume he means.
I must watch this in English to see what it's like. But I thought the voice actors did a really good job of. I assume they're Japanese, but they talked in French accented English, and I was like,
yes.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So we meet Makoto with his pal, Kudo.
The Weasley guy.
I think that's Kudo. I know.
No, not Weasley. Monkey.
I know
monkey
everybody
like.
comes back who's in this first episode.
Excellent.
They're working a water purifier scam.
Like a variation on it that's pretty fun, yeah.
To the point where I was like, that's the second Plus Ultra show in a row which has an episode revolving around a water purifier scam.
It was obviously a big scandal at some stage. Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking online. It goes back to like early 2000s in Japan as a scam.
Yeah, it's but they're doing the double bluff.
Yes.
We're going to send in the one guy first, and the water purifier.
Send in the shifty-looking guy to be like, "Oh, you got to change your water cooler. I can do it for a low price." And it's like, this seems suspect. And I read a poster where it said this bad thing. It's like, "Hello, I'm from the official Water Bureau, and I can install you a filter. Don't worry about it."
We get this all the time. All these like hucksters coming in trying to make a fast buck. Don't worry now. But this, your water's going to be pure and pure. So it's like, yep, that's him. Then she walks over the cash, but there's a double bluff. And also it kind of lingers on this gold watch that the old woman is wearing as well. Remember that for later.
Yes. Also remember when after they get away with this scam that Makoto's associate has also bought himself a nice gold watch. Just before, he explains, just before the police arrive to arrest them for their scam.
Although, like, watching it as an audience, you thinking is like, they're probably here to arrest someone else by the look of it, because they seem concerned, but like, it's like, they're not quite jumping in.
Yeah. Also before that, they pulled the old wallet scam, didn't we?
That's right. He robs a tourist by,
yes,
like convincing the tourist that it was his wallet, but it wasn't his wallet, was it?
No, well, they got a wallet and they drop it. And
Yeah, it's a scam which relies on the tourist being greedy.
Yeah, like I said, it's like, is this yours kind of thing. It wasn't. Yeah, but it's like trying to get him to pay for as a reward for giving him nothing. Basically,
yes, because somebody else comes along and says, "Oh no, that's my wallet. I will give you.
I'll give you a 10% finder's fee."
And then it's
How about
hoping that the other person will give them a bigger reward to say, no, that's my wallet.
Yeah.
And then in between, you've already shown them that there's a lot of money in the wallet.
You put the wallet in their hand initially. It's like, is this yours? And have it check inside. It's like, and then they don't want to let go of the money once it's in their hand. It's like classic scam.
Yeah, and then you switch them when you hand it off.
But then your man goes in to give him a big hug as a thank you.
If you've seen the trailer, you know this French man is also a con man.
Well, he's kind of slyly smiling the entire time as well. So it's kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah. So you know, when he does the big hug, you're like, oh, that's when he switched the wallet.
He's
back
got
again.
him. Easy, yeah. But yes, Kozo runs into him as he's making his escape from the apartment, and it's like, oh, we meet again. You know, someone needs you to get out of town quick. Well, I'm just heading to the airport. Where are you going? I don't care. Let's get out of here. And hops into the car with him, and then they're speaking. You know, again, the trial doing the cross-lingual thing there, but then at a certain point afterwards, if we're not able to translate it into Japanese.
We know our limits and how good we can do English, and it's up to this point. Everything else is English except when he's speaking French.
Before we get to LA, where everybody should be speaking English. So.
I assume everything after that scene, including LA, except for when he's speaking French, is English.
Yeah. But they get a measure of each other. We're both in the same line of work. Maybe I'm a little better than you are, but you know, you had contented with being the best, but I got a real big con going on in Los Angeles, and I think you could be the guy to help me out with it.
So he gets him. We got to get suited up so we can look all official. You got to look like the nerd, and I got to look like the cool playboy. So that's going to be part of our look. And he kind of lingers on him a little too much, but it's obviously like, I am slipping so many things into your pockets and shit right now. You don't even know.
Well, we see him put the sweet box in his bag as they're going across before they get to the airport. That comes back out again as being the drugs that they're going to sell this guy.
I like that in contrast to your man like getting the two people's flight cancelled by slipping a knife into their bag. It's like, oh, off screen I've bumped into you and clearly something's gone wrong. Whereas your man go like, I'm just going to put these sweets in your bag. It's like, dude, fucking be more suspect of this guy.
Yeah, I do like the fact that the show, particularly at the beginning, is you like, oh, this guy's a bit of a scumbag conning old ladies with this scam, and so you kind of want him to be taken advantage of by this French con man, which makes the twist at the end work even better.
Yeah.
So they're going to meet Eddie Cassano. He's a hotshot film director,
but actually mafia guy, who's presumably like producing funds from like a money laundering type thing, I guess. But and he's trying to sell him some Japanese sweets. You think he can get 600? What was it? Like 600 yen for that? It's like no, 6 million. And he's translated as like, that's a lot of yen.
That's what you're talking about. You can't possibly get
for rare
those kind of
sweets?
drugs into that kind of sweet. It's like, oh, what? Well, I'll show you. Like, you know, you guys, there's somebody around. Oh, we got this new girl here. Just use her real name because she's Abigail. Is her...
Yes, she uses her real name. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she just calls herself Abby here, but
yeah.
So she's quite pretty, quite beautiful, but you know, not much in the brains department. You know, hey Abby, come over here. I got something you want to try. So slips her, you know, takes one of these sweets, and then she starts Daffy ducking all the way around the poolside.
Yeah, pretty much.
Swinging her off the trees and diving into the water and running around like a lunatic. It's like, whoa, that's some strong stuff you got there. Whoa, I know.
Also, a nice bit of animation. Like the show up to that point had been just like nice visually, like really great backgrounds and everything. But a nice bit of them to show off some fucking wild animation.
Yeah, everything looks like a Aizen Suzuki painting.
Yes,
backgrounds.
This thing is just like, oh, there's such saturation and contrast is ramped right up. I've seen like some of the pictures of him because he loves like illustrating the sunlight dappling through between the leaves of the trees, and just like the ways individually is put at every point of light, it almost hurts to look at it, but it's also really, really cool.
I did like that when they got to LA, like they actually increased that saturation to show the kind of I guess the temperature and everything.
They
It's
did
lovely.
that bit
Yeah.
in oh, you appear to have frozen up on my screen, Dwayne. They did that a bit
On and off again.
He's a great ventriloquist. They did that bit in Banana Fish, didn't they, when they got to the West Coast?
Yeah.
It suddenly switched to that style of lighting and shadows. Because the shadows is the thing, which is the because there's another Japanese artist who did a lot of LA paintings, and the distinction is particularly the way Aizen Suzuki does the shadows.
Yeah,
which is what
I know the
emulates.
artist you mean as well, and I have images saved from, but I can't think about who they are. But yeah.
So she goes wild on this drug, and what's the thing? Well, how does it lead up to him making Makoto take the drug as well? I can't remember what the lead up to that is, but the key of it is that he takes the quote unquote drug, and then at that point he notices that the watch that Laurent bought him, looks like we lost Dwayne entirely, is the same as the one Lawrence got, and then he remembers seeing this watch 2 times before. Kudo has the same watch, and the old lady he was selling the water purifier to also had the same watch. And so rather than act wild, he legitimately goes wild as he realizes the entire episode has been a con on him so far. And yeah, he goes berserk, steals the bodyguard's gun, fires it wildly. Yeah, I like the fact that he uses the bodyguard as a step to get over the fence. And this is where he ends up where he was at the start of the episode, hanging upside down from the Hollywood sign. Yeah. But this was a great first episode because it's a con story. It's the introduction to a bigger story. This con they're pulling on Eddie Kasano, but the fact it is a complete con in itself on Makoto, and that lessens the feeling you have for him of like thinking he's a scumbag at the start. You think, okay, now he can be a protagonist. We get those cutscenes of Kudo paying off all the cops who he hired to pretend to get him to chase out the building. We get the old lady walking out of the house just as the real owners walk back in again. It is, yeah. Look for the credit-free version on YouTube, which I think's a little bit longer as well. I guess it's easy to get because it's a cover version. I think would probably help. So you're only paying the you got the publishing fees if there still are any, because it's quite an old song. Separate to Freddie Mercury. Well, yeah, quite possibly. Or if you're reading Chainsaw Man, are they a representation of freedom? And dogs are a representation of control. But we'll get to that when Chainsaw Man gets anime. Yeah, I've got a horrible feeling it's going to be Netflix CGI though. That's my horrible feeling of where it'll end up, because it feels right up Netflix's street. Oh, I'm losing you as well now. We've not got Dwayne back at all. Let me try and add him manually. Could be the weather. We're having quite a bit of weather over where I am. It was thundering again. It said Dwayne is unavailable. Right, we'll talk about the weather while we're waiting for Dwayne to reappear. I'll send a message on Twitter and see if I can find him. Yeah, the stream is in excellent condition. It's just the Skype connection is not. You sound fine again now, so don't know what I guess we can just have to press on, and Dwayne can update us with his thoughts if he reappears. Oh no, he's now. Oh, well, let me give that another go. Yes. Next up, though, Appare-Ranman, episode 8, Heavy Rain. I was like, after this episode, I was like, are you sure it's 20-something episodes? No, it's 13 episodes. I was like, okay, the pace it's going makes much more sense, and I'm much happier with the pace being at this rate. He does, yeah. It's I like the fact every character behaves pretty much as you'd expect them to, and yeah, it's they race ahead. First of all, they can't get a parry up, so Kasami tries racing the car himself very cautiously. It's moving. And then Appare wakes up and says, "You should have woken me up." And they're like, "When has that ever worked?"
You've been asleep for like 5 minutes.
We've got a Dwayne back.
Fucking computers.
There we go.
What are we on?
We're on Appare-Ranman. Do you have quick thoughts on overall thoughts on Great Pretender?
Thoroughly enjoyed it. Did not literally expect Freddie Mercury at the end. Was pleasantly surprised. That was nice.
We're just on Kasame driving very cautiously at the start of Appare-Ranman.
he's driving like a granny. It's great. Well, he's driving like a granny who also likes giant robot shows. It's like, gear shift on. Yeah.
They catch up to the lead pack, and it turns out all the non-named characters have been murdered, and their cars destroyed.
Well, I'm luckily they've left that guy with the scars on his face alive.
Yes.
Richard Reisman is there. They can tell the tale. They left me alive, just so they can tell anybody what happened.
And also, my car's not totaled. That was nice of them.
Yes, but the race has to be stopped, or else it'll kill everybody. Kill all the other racers.
There's a town up ahead.
Oh,
maybe then
he
finish
specifically
out there.
says it was like they had the gill tattoo on them,
Yes.
and he turns to look at Kasame when not Kasame, sorry,
Hototo.
I should know the name. Two characters have that name.
Old Hototo, yes. Not new Hototo.
He turns to say to Hototo, they had this tattoo on them, and just to kind of like drive it fucking home. Which was, I was just like, this is, I mean, like we didn't fucking know he's the baddie, but yeah, really driving it home. But yeah, Hototo like tracks their like 5 horses that went this direction and then turned towards this town.
The town
the
does
locals
not
aren't
seem
very
to,
nice.
They don't want them there. One of them tells them to bugger off. And they go to speak to the sheriff. Kasami goes to the bar and speaks to the saloon owner. And it turns out when they go off with the sheriff isn't the sheriff. He's the leader of this gang.
My gosh.
Possibly guilty cigar himself. He's not. But
but he does have the snake tattoo on his neck.
he does, yes.
You're the man who killed my papa.
He's like, I can't remember everyone I've murdered in cold blood because I'm a
Kasami
murderer.
tries to fight them, but he can't do it, and so they mock him, and they're not even going to give him the honor of being murdered.
They're not even going to hang him in the middle of town. They're the cowards always survive. And they assume he's gone to drink his woes away because he does go back to the bar. It's like, well,
God damn it, I'm a coward. But he just needs the advice of a good woman to help him realize what he truly needs to do.
yeah,
He's learn about himself.
definitely MVP of unnamed characters because she's kind of like, I recognize true strength when I see it. It's like, so what's stopping you pulling your guns or swords in this case?
He just relates his sad tale when he was out with his mother, and then just literally just got on the wrong side of the samurai when he was out walking, and he just pulled the blade out, and she stepped into the way to take the blow, and he felt like helpless ever since then. It's like, if I wasn't such a dumbass little 5-year-old kid or whatever age I was, she wouldn't have had to die that day. Oh, if only I was stronger, if only I was faster. It's like, dude. You're being way too hard on yourself. You're a fucking child. What are you supposed to do?
Don't Bruce Wayne yourself. It's not your fault, kid.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a man now, and he's like, yeah, but I still couldn't do anything. He's still traumatized by the entire fucking thing. Obviously,
aren't your friends going to be hanging at sunrise? And if you're a strong man now, wouldn't you be able to make a difference this time?
And him drinking, regarding the story while barely being able to drink the whiskey is it was kind of like, so. Later on, he's training with the sword, and he's like, "Okay, I gotta do it." Sir was like, "Give me a water straight." And she's like, "Okay, you're gonna do it." It's like, we want this gun." It's like, "No, I'm already packing."
There goes the finest sheriff we never had.
Yeah, even manages to walk like with the sun to his back and like a dust fucking bowl blowing in. I was just like, he's good. He's good. He's got it.
It's cheesy. It's fucking. But it still gets you. It's effective.
I mean, the lads are all tied up and like strung up nearly. So all they get to do is comment on all his fighting moves as well.
Yeah.
It's like, he's reading their movements and shit like that, and it's just like, this is cheesy as heck, and I fucking love every minute of it. Yeah.
Yeah. When she's like, it's like, no, don't do it, Kasami. They're gonna kill you. You can't do it. Just get the hell out of here. Not this time. Not today. Yeah, it's cool. He's just like blowing straight through these dudes. It takes them out or disarms them or incapacitates them and cuts down all of that. So it's like, you came back for us. But they just got one guy left. He's about to draw down on him. He's about to shoot out on Hototo as well. Kasami just swoops into the way and cuts the bullet in half in midair. That's
classic.
You didn't have to do that. What you just did there before was really class. And you dropped that fucking badass line where it's like, Hototo, you don't need to be like your child. Just be responsible for the death of your father. It wasn't anything you could have done. Leave this to the adults.
I won't let a child's hands get bloodstained, implying that I will let mine get bloodstained.
Yeah, this is the only guy who gets killed. The other guys just get their guns sliced up.
Yeah, it's the gun sliced and like hits them with the back of the sword and they fall over.
Because then,
but,
then Hokuto tries to kill the leader, and then that's when he gives the speech and explains, "My mother was also killed when I was 9, but that does not mean you should, as a child, you should do revenge. You should leave that to the adults." And then that guy, rather than going along nicely, grabs 2 guns, and then we get the best bit of animation and his special style, which gets the blooming stamps on the screen as he announces it.
Gotta have it.
Go with every cliched thing, because all of them combined are very fucking cool.
Oh yeah, they really walk off into the sunset at the end as well.
And the bartender looking at him walking off, like it was just like, this is great. Good shit. I don't even mind the fact that I was initially like, oh wait, they're just gonna fuck off in the middle of the race. Obviously your man's gonna take a lead now, and he was in first position.
Yeah, what they're saying as well, this is a threat to the race again, and while win the race fair and square. So
but they're all like legitimizing like the thing. Even your man's like, hey, these were guys I was going to beat in the race, but now they're killed. I will get vengeance for them.
Look at what they've done to the cars, I believe Appare says.
He has to come up with some fucking excuse that's his to get himself involved. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously the 2 gunmen, they didn't even bother attacking, because obviously I feel like if those cowboys had gone after TJ and is it Nathan, the other one?
Dylan,
they just got massacred between the pair of them.
Yeah, because those really, I keep forgetting to say, those idents that look like a little kind of manga style, like one from the manga and one from the color page. It has a really good one at TJ where he's all tied up and a bunch of guns in him, and then like all of a sudden he has a knife in his mouth and he's pulled the guns out. And I was like, this is rad as shit. And it's just a still fucking image. It's just so well done.
Yeah.
And we discover the reason for all this at the end is the men behind the railways want to discredit cars, and so they've hired
bastards
the real guilty cigar to take care of it, which is Richard Reisman with his hair gelled back.
With his hair back and his eyes open, because you can see he's got one weird eye.
Seems so nice.
Yeah.
It's such a wonderful show. I like the character designs, just the simpleness of the storytelling.
Yeah.
Works wonderfully. And the idea is like, oh, these trade barons are the ones behind it all. And it is as simple as just discrediting cars as being the plot.
Yeah, it's just like the kind of the simplest ideas, because there's like real shit that happens. Like I think of for some reason now the plot the nice guys where the car barons wanted to like discredit the catalytic converter or put it keep it under wraps. It's like, oh, you bastards, I hate you. Because that's a real thing people do when they are just as villainous as about as.
No, you're right. There are some really stupid, like evil things people have done in history. I need to discredit like direct current. Watch me electrocute an elephant with direct current, so everyone goes with alternating.
Yeah, and even then the railway barons, they're kind of doing it most themselves here, but they would hire like bandit gangs to blow up each other's tracks as well. So.
It's still the Wild West, so yeah, you can still do Wild West cliches and also those kind of things. I mean, like they happen more businessy these days, basically less less cool action sequence.
I guess this is happening around the same time as all the story in Woodpecker Detective's office as well. And that had the plot of discrediting a particular form of entertainment by getting a man to pretend to be a ghost.
Scooby-Doo that shit. Yeah.
I mean, you can say it's simplistic, but the thing is, though, this has happened in history, like almost as is. There probably was less samurai out there, but this happened. So don't worry about it.
Then we've got Millionaire Detective Episode 6, Ill-Got, Ill-Spent. In which...
do us by the book. You're not on the take.
2 terrible detectives do terrible things, while the one good detective tries to stop the pair of them from doing it.
I've seen this show been like put under the thing of mystery, and it wasn't until this episode that it feels like a mystery.
Yes. And I remembered that this is written by the same person who wrote Woodpecker Detective's Office. Who's also writing the Fruits Basket TV series as well.
Wow.
Is he?
Fun official sponsor of this podcast.
Yeah. As a bunch of, I think there's a whole bunch of other stuff we've watched as well of theirs.
Jeez.
So yeah, this episode is Cho and Daisuke both trying to investigate who exactly is behind the technology from the previous episode, and they both have come to was it Mitsuo Features as being the culprit.
Yeah, Mizuho Futures, who in cooperation or conglomeration with Kanbei Industries.
Yeah, they both want to know how they're connected for different reasons. Daisuke mainly because he's worried about why is there this information I am barred from accessing. And then later on, he's discussing it with his
Suzue,
the bodyguard, secretary, sidekick, Robin.
Love interest?
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, we have run across that a few times before. I just assumed I didn't have the access level."
Because
I remember what I was about. Didn't have
any correlation. Yeah.
I don't want to be, but this it seems to be thing as well is because of that. Yes, probably is. And you can't think, oh, what is that? And does it relate to the money? Again, this is like, how are you spending the money the wrong way, and we're not going to let you use this properly until you spend the money the right way. Is he being controlled by the amount of money? Like, is there some other criteria to how he spends it besides fighting crime? You gotta use it to fight crime in this way wherever possible.
You got to use it to fight crime that doesn't implicate this business that you get the money from.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Well,
but as well, like it's.
The thing, this particular thing that Daisuke is interested in when they're basically he contrives to bring in an executive from this Mitsuo Futures by framing
I
her
can't
for a
arrest
crime.
you for I can't arrest you, or I can't have the computer like fucking AI butler tell me anything about you, but he can certainly frame you for a crime.
Which is also kind of what Sho wanted to do. And so it plays into Cho's hands as well that he's brought her in, but because he's interrogating her, Cho can't interrogate her. So then Cho later on in the episode has to find a roundabout way to interrogate her, which is is it even more? No, it's about equally underhanded.
It's both scummy.
Yes.
I mean, like, one guy has convinced her that she murdered someone or is involved, or not that she's murdered someone, but that she's being accused of murder, which is a scary thing.
But then
it's like, but it does look like I murdered him.
He immediately drops the pretense as soon as he's got her in an interrogation room.
Yeah. So he doesn't keep it up. It's like, you're going away for life kind of thing. It's just like, no, I'm just here to ask you questions about this.
And also, I want access to your laptop.
It's incredibly invasive because he does like this is like
here's all your folders. Open all folders.
Project it up on the screen so we can all see it there behind a two-way mirror. And it's like, no, just narrow it down to plots and narrow it down to search two secret locked files. Because a folder that he can't unlock.
Yeah, but he also wants to know whether she knows Shigemaru Kanbei, a name we've not had before. And we'll have a second Kanbei name by the end of the episode. So he's trying to find all this information out, and there's still things he can't access on her laptop for the same reasons he can't access this information. Because again, he's using his AI butler to do this, and because it's blocking him doing it on his own system, it also blocks him from entering it in their systems. So he only gets so far, but as he's bringing up all this data, a photo flashes up that Cho recognizes. And Cho's way about things is getting all the contacts he's got within the police that he's built up for all these years to just slip bits of evidence to him. And so he's earlier got the information about the jamming technology and these mysterious grapes that no one seems to understand. Seems to be the core
he tried confronting her in the parking lot before your man framed her for murder. But she's just like, I'm just gonna ring my fucking lawyer right now. Also, I'm recording this conversation. And he's like, sorry to bother you, ma'am. We'll talk again soon. Or actually, he didn't even say that. He just fucking, we need to leave immediately. Because legally, there's nothing I can do here. But if once he gets her into the station, the things are a little different, aren't they?
Yes.
Is this your daughter or was it the son? Either or.
I wasn't. I think it was the daughter was her kid, but yeah, it's like your kid could be done for hiding crimes and stuff like that. That's bad. Once your bosses learn about that, that'll be really bad for you if I leak that onto the internet.
But he's doing this in a non-interrogation format because what he's done is while Daisuke went out of the room, he went in to see her and said, "Oh,
it's like, hey, your lawyer's
here. You're free to go." And he's like, "Oh, where's that lawyer? You just wait in here." Haru,
in the waiting room.
Go and find the lawyer. And meanwhile, close the door. Now I'll start the interrogation in the waiting room.
It's super shady. I do like the way it's presented as it's like, because he's like, come on, kid, sometimes you got to do things a little dirty. You got to get yourself dirty to do detective work. And your man's just like, fucking no dude, this is fucked up. I like the way it's not presented as this is cool. It's like, no, this is bad.
And he's early had a conversation with the First Division, hasn't he? About how they think something's up with what Daisuke's done today, and that the higher-ups keep on trying to cover it up, and they're not okay with it. Also, the higher-ups also trying to cover up what happened in the previous episode, because they've made Haru take... And honestly, I did like the way it went through all that.
That scene was great.
And it was kind of like, yeah, you didn't really help at all, did you, Haru? You just got the suspect dead.
I mean, he helped, like, a guy... People are alive because of his intervention. Yes, good job. But also not entirely your thing. But I like the way all these guys were like, yeah, we got to stand up for each other. And then they all threw him under the fucking bus. It's like, I helped in this regard. I was not involved one bit. I was ordered to do everything wrong.
I tried to stop him, but he was crazy.
But I do like how everything they said was true as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's just like, motherfuckers, you could have said I helped talk to the old man or something. But no, fuck me over. Cool.
Yeah, and they're like, well... It wasn't the key discovered by I can't remember her name now, the one who's always eating, and how delighted she was that it was her.
Yeah, because that was something good. Technically, I saved him because I found the key. I mean, yeah, I guess, but I helped. I did action scene stuff. Come on, help me out, guys.
Yeah, and also
he doesn't want to take the easy way out. Yes. That's him as well.
Yeah.
Which is the same with Cho. Cho doesn't want to take it because the boss of their division is trying to convince Cho, just take it easy, you'll retire soon.
Yeah, I thought the boss was doing like some dirty shit until Cho started doing really fucking dirty shit.
I thought as well when he's having lunch or dinner or whatever with Haru in the pub, and he's just going, well, that's why there's one last case I want to get out the book before I retire. And I thought, don't say things like that. Even Haru does, because that's all he watches at home. He knows what this sounds like. Don't say that in front of him either.
Mm-hmm.
But as he's saying goodbye to the, she did she give him information? Because she says she's going to call the boss. Oh, she doesn't, because Haru comes in and
she says, I'll tell you everything. Just don't release the information. Just let me call my boss and
I think the key
let him know that he's going to have to deal with this.
I think the key is her calling her boss. There.
Yeah, someone else fucking knows now. Yes. Great, good job. You've sealed your fate.
I assume somebody else also has access to the AI
nanobots,
nanobots and things. Yes.
Yeah.
And yes, the lawyer is there. They get in the car, and then it starts flashing up warning signals, and it explodes.
Yeah, and also we learned later on this is one of those smart cars. It's got like a self-driving capability.
Yeah, that's what we learned earlier when you framed her for murder. I did like the way it just does the screen flicker to show that it looked like she ran over someone, like projecting it onto the screen. Which he shows the technology with the laptop. Yeah. It gives you all the bits without needing to explain the tech. It's really good.
But it's also, you think, oh, this is a horrible accident. One of these new self-driving cars that haven't been properly field tested yet. It is obviously malfunctioned and blew up. Oh, it's awful tragedy, this. Too bad we'll never find out what she wanted to say.
Yes.
A car blows up in a police station and it's not a fucking murder. Yeah, okay, cool.
And so, Haru and the chief are discussing what's up with Cho, and he opens up Cho's locker, and there's a notice of the
Unsolved
Sayori
murder.
Kanbei murder investigation that apparently he was in charge of. And then we see Cho going up to the roof, where it appears that Daisuke is being monitoring that explosion, but that may just be how it's been cut. Smoking a cigar, and he asks him if he did it. Cho asks him if he did it. And you're like, okay, does he mean, did he do that explosion in the car park, or does he mean that he murdered Sayori Kanbei? Or something else? So we now got two cops who aren't particularly clean in their methods, like pointing against each other. They probably really should be pointing in the same direction.
See, that was the other thing I was thinking. Was he asking him, did you do it kind of thing? Not so much as so he can nail him to the fucking wall, but more so it's like, we should work together on this. Like, it was like, it could be that as well, because basically they were getting in the way of each other's dirty fucking detective work.
Yeah, I gotta get a read on this dude, because I don't want him to tripping over him. It could be useful. And I can see that, from his little display there, when he hacked into a computer in front of us, that he's going to pursue probably extra legal methods to get his perp. But then you gotta have Haru, though, wants to keep this all above board. It's like you gotta do this legitimately. This could be as well as from all the cop shows he watches, but it's in a sense as well that, like, we've seen what Daisuke can do. He can hack into anything and buy essentially whatever he needs or wants to get the leverage he needs to crack the case. It's also a way to see, well, but Shosuke, he's following the leads. He's got the contacts, but doesn't necessarily make his way any more legitimate than what Daisuke is doing by destroying money at the problem.
Yeah, his way appears to be that stereotypical interrogation, get a confession thing which would be of all things, cuticle detective Inaba accuses the Japanese police force of as being not actually looking for evidence, but just trying to force a confession.
Yeah,
trying to just get a fucking clean, trying to just fill the fucking blank. It's like case solved, whatever. Yeah.
It's not just a case of whether this department does it need more funding, does it need more skill or experience? No, it needs fucking honest police officers to actually solve these things. So it's like honest and smart people with integrity to solve these things.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's gonna try and use it to indulge your own self-interest.
There was another bit with Cho asking about Daisuke, asking a man about Daisuke, and he's kind of like, he really fucking gets my goat, but he seems like a decent guy. It's like, is he trying to find another dirty cop to work with? Is it like, oh, good, he's a good guy? And it's like, he's an honest cop. I can't work with that. It could go multiple ways.
Yeah, I suspect they're both. My suspicion is that everything's going to point towards this Shigeru Kanbei, whoever, be that his father or some other person. It's not the name of the father in the books.
Right.
It may be he could be like the next scion of the company.
The next heir, whereas Daisuke isn't going to be the heir. Yeah.
But yeah, the key is that the thing he's been using to solve the crimes, he can no longer solve the crimes, so therefore he's actually going to have to do some real detective work.
He can still pay for damages, though. That's
still
fine.
pay for damages. I do think that is part of the plot, is that he's got to spend all this money, or he's deliberately trying to spend all this money, so maybe Shigeru Kanbei doesn't have the money to spend for whatever their purposes is.
But I thought he had infinite money.
I suspect that. But yeah, this was a cracking episode because it flips everything slightly, particularly because it's made you like Daisuke a lot in the previous 2 episodes. And then this makes you go, ooh, back off a bit. I hadn't realised the guy playing him is a dancer, primarily.
Really?
Yeah.
Got a very deep voice.
He does.
I wouldn't have expected it. I assumed he was a voice actor. Wow.
I think as well as also seeing the dramatic ending of someone getting blown up in the car. It's like, oh, this has kind of been like funny shenanigans for a good bit of his runtime. Now it was legitimate murder. We had attempted murder last time, and a guy jumped off a building, but it didn't seem as just stark and direct as a car bombing.
Yeah.
There was a couple of bits where Cho's character design made me think he was going to pull his Face Off and Lupin the Third was going to be underneath it.
Yeah. Not quite gangly enough, maybe.
No, but it just looks like some of the mouth animation was very Lupin-like. Partly because I was reading Lupin last night, but that's part of the reason why. But
they could be going some like old animation style because he's an old-fashioned detective kind of thing. So yeah, it could be that.
Alrighty ho, let's move on to slightly simpler fare. Healing Good, Pretty Cure, episode 21. Nice to meet you. I'm Asumi Fuurin.
Yes, and I have nowhere to live because I was literally came into being yesterday, and I have no idea what a human needs to do to survive. So, this rather learn to sleep out in the street or probably to stand motionless in the street until we come back to her the following day. That's Nodoka will take her home and she'll mind her and feed her and do all that kind of thing. And introduce her to parents that, why is this strange woman holding our dog? Oh, that's... I forgot to tell you, this is Latte's actual owner. She was on a holiday to Japan from abroad because she's this glamorous blonde-haired woman. And she lost her dog, and we've been searching up and down the country trying to find it. So, she's really on a sorts. I said we did her stay at our place for a little while. Is that okay? Is this all right? But as long as you get to have Latte for a little while longer, because it's one of those things where the parents are opposed to getting the dog in the first place, but then they love the dog more than you over time, so they don't want to say goodbye just yet. But they try to take care of her, mind her, bathe her, try to show her how to eat food with some great faces there. It's she can't work the chopsticks or work the spoon and fork of it. Can't work chopsticks properly, and she's putting this kind of shocked 70s shoujo manga face. Oh, I can't eat it. I can't get it in my mouth. So here's a fork. You use this to put food in. Okay, this is pretty good. And she's wondering then to herself, Nodoka, why do you do these things to take care of me? It seems logical. I do not understand what benefits that you obtain from doing these things for me. It's just sort of, I'm an empathetic human being, it's just, I want to help people out. But as well, when I was sick, I had a lot of people help me out, and I feel like I want to reciprocate that to the rest of the world, And it's oh, I see. It's no, don't walk out in the traffic. What are you trying to do? It's just, okay, what was that? I stopped him from getting creamed by a truck, dude. Also, I wanged my hand while I was doing that. It's you saved my life. Yes, in a sense, yeah, but that's what we do for people, what I gain is you not dying. So bear that in mind. Bad guys are on the move again. King Bio again is having a little meeting, but Tate Moda, he was killed by that new Precure last episode. For shame that I had high hopes that young lad. It's but boss, we can do it. We can let us in. Okay, well, you get out there, start making some monsters. Guaiwaru, the big musty dude, he has the crystallized evil bits. He's going to make a monster, or rather, he's going to take the reason's monster. He's the slacker one. He's made a monster, and so it's one of the gems into it, make it supersize immediately straight away. So while they rush down, there's this thing is huge already. How are they doing that? And get to work trying to fight it, but it's again bigger than they would normally be fighting at this stage, and they're struggling with it a little bit, and kind of watch out for each other, trying to help you evade that and dodge out of the way. It gets into it as well that Nodoka's about to be smushed, but then Asumi just jumps in the way, and just with body acting by itself, just manages to block the attack and fend them off. So we're able to dispense with the monsters then, and other guys are scared off, but not before they chop off some Darius and chops off some bits from the monster that's already there, and they turn into crystallized bits and think, I see what you did there earlier on. I might keep some of these for later. So we're getting bigger beasties down the line. And it's Asumi, you saved my life. You did it. Yes, it just kind of came over me all of a sudden. Just my mind moved by its own. No, I didn't really have time to think about it, but I guess some of what you were saying there is rubbed off on me. You know, you see your partner in trouble, you just rush in to save him. You don't need to think about it or see what you gotta get out of it. I just want to help him. Like, yeah, that's right. You're a good cop, Curate. You're going to do well on this force. So yeah, the team is starting to gel together, and again, we're getting like lots more things with Latte the dog. Did actually say the transformation sequence last time were basically while she's getting all the ribbons and bows, like, apparating onto herself, they're doing like dog show tricks. So not just running around, and they're doing the thing where like she runs across your shoulders and jumps off the other side. It's very cute. They also changed the ending credits song, which I'm ambivalent about just yet, because I really do this one. But now we've got a fourth performer there to dance around, but it's changed from the poppy number before to this sort of like kind of big jazzy kind of thing, where they're like doing jazz hands and dancing to Charleston. It's kind of fun, and it's a nice animation, and it might grow on me. But I really like the older one because it reminded me that in Japan they call it a high five, a high touchy. Oh yeah. But I think next week, Latte might be running away, and if he runs away, that means that Asumi might cease to exist. So we got to find the lost puppy before she disappears from our world. It was just it's all right one. We're getting like this more like, remember these 3 villains we haven't done anything with for the last, like, I don't know, 8 episodes in a row. They need to be like back into the mix again. Here's what they can do. So yeah.
And then finally, One Piece episode 938, Shaking the Nation, the identity of Ushimitsu Kozo, the chivalrous thief. It's Yasu.
What? What? The guy introduced last episode?
Oh no, he's been introduced for a long time.
Like introduced to the gang, I suppose. Yeah.
Gang, yes. Yeah, Zoro had met him a lot earlier. Yeah, so he's been arrested, and as they're interrogating him, they figure out who he really is, but I don't think they say...
because his hat falls off.
Do they say who he really is in this episode, or they just go...
No, he's...
Yes.
And it's like, they could just say who he is, because we, as the audience, well, unless you've read the manga, don't know who the fuck he is, because we don't know that name. You haven't told us who that person is, so you could just say his fucking name.
Can't say his
That's
name,
Johnny!
Johnny! Don't want to go into a flashback just yet. Save that for next episode.
Yeah.
Go and tell Orochi. That'll cheer him up.
It'll piss him off. It'll focus him.
It'll focus him, yes. He's no longer sad.
He's scared.
We'll have an execution. Also, throughout all these scenes, though, you do get the feeling that being captured and executed is part of his plan. Somehow, because he seems delighted, and I don't think... Anyway, also next week, I believe we will also find out why everyone in Abyssal Town is laughing all the time. Particularly when we get to the end.
Actually get the fucking tragedy of it. Yeah.
Yes. It'll be an incredibly miserable episode. It's pretty sad by the end when Toku's running away after Brooke discovers Zoro in bed with Momo's 2 ladies. Sister. And he's like, oh, sorry, I did not know. Zoro's like, no, it's not what you think it is. And then, of course, he immediately asks to see some panties. Yes, Brooke's very confused because he doesn't know where Nami and the rest of them have got to. They're supposed to be going to a bath house, and they've not come back here.
And I went there, but I didn't see anyone naked there, so I came back to my hideout here, which you guys were in, which is weird. Yeah.
Also, Hold'em is back, and he's fighting... what's his...
I'm trying to think of his name.
He's Ashura Doji is his real name, and I can't remember what his pretend bandit name is.
He's in trouble with Hold'em because they stole all of Hold'em's guys' food and supplies, and they left a note. It was us, these specific bandits. We did this.
Yes.
And he's like, "Oh, you motherfuckers!" And you guys like, "What the fuck are you talking about, dude?"
Yes, because this.
Why would I leave a fucking note?
This is all Kinemon's plan to make him mad at the Minx. And I can't remember how this plays out in getting him on, but apparently this is part of Kinemon's plan to get him on their same side after all these years. because he is one of the red scabbards, so he should be on their side and not
Mm.
being a bandit. So therefore, we had to arrange it so that his entire hideout got set on fire, so he's nowhere else to hide. Meanwhile, Carrot is feeling very guilty about all of this because presumably
Because she wrote the note, I think.
yeah. So I get the feeling that they hadn't really completely filled her in on the plan. They just told her to do a bunch of things and then come back.
And be a pure innocent about it, yeah.
Because maybe she wouldn't have done it otherwise. But
Well, like, she sees an entire fucking hill on fire and she's like, did I do this?
Yeah.
Shit. Because Hold'em's just going berserk on that chain flame sword he has.
yeah, and the other dog mink whose name I forget is also there. Also, Luffy's challenging Queen to a sumo wrestling fight because he's enormous after eating all the food in the previous episode.
They established several times in that scene all the red bean soup has been eaten.
Yes.
There's none left. No red bean soup. Conspicuously, Big Mom not in this episode.
So to remind you, I assume every episode she's not in, between now and when she returns, they'll remind us that all the red bean soup has been eaten.
Yes. Yeah.
But Queen's not having any of this because he's distraught at hearing the Oiran has been killed. Kaido also seems pretty upset about it, which is a thing which didn't really come across in the comic, in the performance of how sad Kaido sounded.
Was he sad or was he ringing up your man to go like, hey, you know that girl you fancy? Yeah, she died.
Yeah, he sounded sad as well.
Because he's doing his laugh noise, and I was just like, is he laughing sadly? What is happening
Well,
here?
he's
drunk in the
drunk,
morning, so who can fucking tell? Yeah.
It could be one thing and then the other.
Yeah. He is an emotional drunk.
Yeah. Yeah, I do expect when we get his flashback, it just being the daddy drank sketch from Kids in the Hall. Of his terrible relationship with his son. But I suspect it won't be. I suspect it'll be the rocks, and we'll get all that bit. That'll be another. Let's get a load of other characters' backgrounds filled in while someone else has a flashback.
Very efficient flashbacks.
Only got 4 to 5 years left of this, so got to get them all in as quickly as possible.
I still can't see them finishing it in 5 years. I saw that, maybe I already said this, but I saw that as a joke to something where it's like, oh, a series is ending in 5 chapters. You're like, oh, wow, I'm glad they got to end it the way they wanted to. One Piece is ending in 5 years. It's like, they can't end it in 5 years. That's not nearly enough time.
How would I measure my time on this earth without this comic?
I think that was most of the stuff which happened this week. I assume they'll be amazingly surprised between frames when Luffy loses all that weight, just by throwing a punch because he's got this ridiculous metabolism.
Burns a lot of calories trying to punch that big.
Exactly.
It's where the old man should actually stay fat because he was fat when he was younger, and he just had no chance to put on the weight again because he's been in prison.
Yeah, well, you shrink when you get older. It's you gotta
No, but I mean, like he's also fat in the sumo ring, so he should technically stay fat. He's not made of rubber like some people.
Kind of diffuse out and kind of
get in some into the arms and legs. Yeah,
some kind of proportion in there.
Next week, Odin's silhouette will be making an appearance. We're getting ever so closer to us getting Odin's story
and his voice.
Yeah, I think we should get his voice as well next week, shouldn't we? Yeah. Yeah,
I feel like that flashback is going to be a good run of fucking episodes.
Oh yeah, it certainly will. I imagine they might shove some extra stuff in there for good measure.
Yeah. Also, this character was there. Oh, great. That's all filled in then. Perfect.
Let's give Crocus some more lines. Got all the Gold Roger characters who we've met before, and all the Whitebeard characters we've met before. They're going to have to get a whole bunch of dialogue in.
Was like I was trying to think of characters they could put in, and there is. Oh no, wait! I was going to say it was Tom in it, and I was like, for fuck's sake, Frankie was in that flashback.
Yes.
Yeah. Everyone's fucking there. Yeah.
All your favorites.
Yeah. Yeah. That was nothing dazzling this week, but it was a perfectly good episode of One Piece, and it's probably going to be a tragic episode of One Piece next week. That is it. What day next week? Is it Tuesday next week, Niall?
Let me count.
Assuming I'm well.
Yeah, Tuesday, the 1st of September.
Splendid. We'll be back
Probably
then.
do.
Anything coming up on Secret of the Sailor Madness?
I would try to track down some people who agree to do things for us. Well, we may be calling our buddy Jake Burke up for Scribbler's Field soon because he was on to be about, hey, I just watched some anime and I'm really into baseball now. Can we get like a little thing about baseball episodes in otherwise non-baseball anime or other cartoons? But like, just keep the anime because that's kind of where most of them turn up anyway. So, but I had to narrow down to a few choices there. I think he was watching Doro Hedoro in the baseball episode and that he wants to more of that. So we get the Samurai Champion one, obviously everyone recently in B and A, and probably a few other ones. I think our metric will be
Pokemon Sun and Moon.
Yes, that one.
They got a good one too. I mean that show looks great anyway. So
there's an Urusei Yatsura one as well, if I recall correctly. But yeah, it'll be a fun time. Our metric will be: is it better than Homer at the Bat? That's our like gold standard of baseball episodes in the cartoon series. So that's our yardstick. Let's see if we can measure up.
And for me, if you follow me on Twitch at Let's Go Brian, you can now watch me play Yakuza 5, where I started playing it the other weekend, and I got to the taxi driver section, and I was like, I'll just do what it needs. I won't play too much of it. Anyway, I've pretty much finished the taxi driver section. Yakuza. Turned out it was more fun than, particularly the racing was a little easier than I was expecting it to be. That was always my worry in Yakuza games, is when it forces you to do something which isn't punching people. I know it's good for the Mahjong, as people recommend it as one of the best Mahjong games. But my experiences with the golf game were put me off wanting to do the driving bit, but it is actually perfectly fine. Also, it would force you to do a load of driving anyway. A lot of the sub-stories for Kiryu's part are do some driving. We've put this mechanic in, we're going to make you do it as much as possible. A bit like how in 3 it makes you chase after people as much as possible.
We played all that Outrun and Zero, so you should be a dab hand at this by now.
I haven't got to 0 yet. I'm doing 5, then 0. Then I might go back and do the Majima parts of Kiwami 2, because I believe they relate to 0.
Maybe.
Then I'll do 6. I believe characters from 0 show up again in the Majima parts of Kiwami 2.
Right.
So it would not have had so much of effect not playing 0. I'd be like, who is this person, and why do they mean so much to our one-eyed maniac? Whereas, 0's next after 5, because that's the first PS4 one, isn't it? I'm still doing there's such a leap in the engine between 4 and 5. It's quite crazy. But there's pros and cons, but I am really enjoying 5. I really enjoyed 4 as well. I've enjoyed most of them. 3 is probably the one which was the most frustrating.
Yeah, for many people, like 4 is where it's gotten too much for them, and also I've only really heard about that because it's got an absolutely insane plot, of like double crossing and double crossing.
It's less insane than 3's plot. 3's plot involves you one point having to sit down with a member of parliament for a lengthy talk. Whereas 4 tends to give the plot a lot better throughout. There is an insane bit in 4, but it all kind of... I liked how 4 ended. I like 3 as well, but 3's problem is the mechanic of the everybody blocks too well in 3. It can be super frustrating doing the combat. And also the sub-stories... To get through all the sub-stories, you have to do a lot of the mini-games. And if you're not good at all the mini-games, you're kind of stuck getting 100% on the sub-stories. Whereas that's gone in 4.
Well, that would be good. I could not hack the dancing in 0. I just, no matter how hard I tried, I could not.
No, I can't do the
karaoke
I can't do the karaoke at all in 4 or 3. 4 was just so punishing. I've not tried 5's karaoke to see if that's less punishing. But yeah, rhythm games as you get older get harder.
But I can do the karaoke one pretty alright. Maybe I just need like a good enough song to get into it. Maybe like I just could not get the steps right. It's like I got no rhythm, I suppose.
But there's always plenty. I think 56 hours was what it took me to do everything I did in 4, and there was still like 40% of the game left to do. So. Yeah, I'm sure 5 will be even worse on that front. I'm pretty sure it is. It's got so many more video games, for arcade games and stuff for a start.
Like you saw that orange. It feels like I creep in and like year by year. This will be the only game you need because you can play every other game ever made in our arcades. It'll be PS6. Let's be. This PS6 runs Yakuza 7 and only Yakuza 7. So it's the only game you need.
Yeah, and due to popular demand, it will be back to being Kiryu as the main character, no doubt, and he'll be in his 60s.
It'd be in his 60s with an emulator for all other fucking games.
Yes, and also it's a time travel plot. I guess I get the Kiryu in his prime when you first see him. You get the younger Kiryu from Yakuza 0. You can get Kiryu 2099. All the greats. Crimson Kiryu.
But I'd say the one advantage of playing them in order is you do get like the build-up of in-jokes and plays on things which happened before. Because in 5, there's this one sub-story where the guys at the taxi office are asking his help in fixing a computer, which if you've played the previous 4 games, you know this is not his area of expertise.
No fooling.
But yeah, if you want to watch me play Yakuza, that's where you can find me, is on Let's Go Brian at Twitch. Otherwise, we're back in next week with more Let's Go. Goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Right,
Wouldn't
let me
wanna
hit the
be
stop
you.
buttons in the correct order. First of all, on the end of the stream.